All right, we're back here at DIY German Aircooled Garage. Today, well, usually we work on vintage cars, but today we're going to be working on my daily driver, my 2002 Audi A4 Quattro. To be able to hold a decent job, you got to be able to get to work, and sometimes you can't rely on the vintage cars. So it's my daily driver, and today we're going to go ahead and put new front disc pads on it. Alright, so before we get started, obviously we have to jack the car up and get the wheel off. Wanted to make sure we went through where to jack the car and how to get the wheel off, basically jacking it up and then putting it on a jack stand. You got to make sure it's safe. Obviously you can use your factory jack, which is in the trunk and next to the toolkit or the spare tire, but there are proper jacking spots for the Audi A4. Basically right here in the rocker panel, you're going to look underneath and you're going to see a rail. And it's got a plastic covering up until about this area right here, and then it turns into solid metal rail like this. And then it ends like about 2 inches in front of the door here. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be meeting that rail with this little slot here on the jack, and then basically, jacking the car up from there. Eventually I'm going to use my floor jack, but I just wanted to show everybody who are limited in their tools how to use what you have available in the car. But before you want to get the car completely off the ground, you want to get the lug nuts off of here, untorqued at least, because when the wheel's up in the air, you don't have any resistance. So you got to get the little cap off, but for those that have little caps on their wheels and such, you'll usually look in your toolkit in your modern car, you'll find these little tools in there typically. So in Audi you want to put it in so the hook is facing out towards the air nozzle and pull it off. It's that easy. So anyway, this time, because we're just taking the lug nuts off, you just use the factory lug nut wrench and basically get them off. Now when we go to put it back on, we'll have the torque setting proper. But you can see I've already loosened these up, so they're easy. But anyway, that's perfect for jacking the car up. Alright, I've got all the lug nuts off of here. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull the wheel off. And then I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to turn the wheel over all the way to the left so that I'll have better access into the calipers here. Alright, we've turned the wheel all the way to the left. We've got good access to the back of the caliper, what we're going to be working on back there, but first we need to take the spring off. I have a hook screwdriver, but a regular screwdriver works just fine. Basically, you just have to get in there and start prying it out. Now you have to be careful because some of these things could, leap out and fly at you. Obviously, it's always good to wear eye protection. I always wear eye protection because, I can't see without it. But anyway, that's it. So the spring pries out. Then we're going to go ahead and get the 7mm Allen bolts off of the back here. Okay, we're back to the caliper. Next thing we're going to do is take off the dust caps or the covers off of the 7mm Allen bolts that holds the caliper on. Basically see these little rubber caps. It's pretty easy. They're right above the caliper stud right there, and then there's another one down here. See, it just pops out. Then you're going to need one of these 7mm Allens. You don't necessarily need the ratchet style like I have here. You can just use a regular standard, L-shaped looking one. But basically, then you just get your Allen in there, and you basically just start unwrenching it. And now I've just got this one almost done. Should pull out. Oh, there we go. Gotta kind of give it a little bit of a yank. It's stuck in the rubber. Oh yeah, there's the stud, the 7mm goes in there, and that basically holds the caliper on there. Caliper should be, it's free. It's obviously hooked onto the rotor. I'm gonna need to get a little bit of play there so we can slide that off. But before we do that, I think I'm gonna take the sensor apart, as we don't want to yank on any of these wires, and if this caliper falls off of here, it could yank on this and kind of pull on that. So I think that's what we'll do next. I wanted to go into detail about how to get this apart here, because this little tab right here has to be pushed backwards like that. I mean, you can see how I'm pushing backwards. Sometimes you can, well, what I ended up doing is screwdriver in a little hole, pull back like that, and then just basically, wiggle that connector off of there. You can see down in there, that pushes up, and that's what holds it on there, and then there's a little tab on that. But anyway, to get this off, you just put your screwdriver in there a little bit, and then you just turn it sideways. Comes off. Okay, we're back at the caliper. You can see calipers, the brake pads seem to be stuck on the rotor a little bit, which is common, when you get so much of the piston sticking out like that. But just grab a couple screwdrivers, one on the top, one on the bottom, and pry it out. See what? There we go. Perfect. You can see underneath here, this is where our wear sensor is. And so we'll be ended up taking this off here. All right. Oh, there we go. So there's the brake pad. I'll smash your thumb. You can see how it's got some clamps it puts in there. Now, you can see the piston sticking out pretty far. So we're going to have to get that in. We're going to have to compress the piston. So you see a lot of brake compression kits or whatever, but I've been doing old school repairs for a long time. We're just going to use a C-clamp to push that cylinder back. Alright, so we got the C-clamp on the back of the caliper, and now we got the, now it's just time to push this piston back into its bore. So you can see, basically, we're just cranking it down, hoping that it doesn't fall off the back, which it likes to. Getting it positioned correctly is always a trick. And then basically, start to screw it down. And eventually, it'll bottom out. And we can put new pads in. Yeah, it's moving down, so it's always good news. I can see the rubber boots collapsing. Alright, we got the piston compressed all the way to the bottom. We didn't give it too much of a torque at the bottom. Again, you don't want to squeeze it too hard at the bottom. It could mar the piston. So just go real light, right tap at the bottom. So I got my other pads here in the box. You can see, again, wear sensor wire. The difference in the brake pads is pretty significant. I was right down there on the edge, but luckily didn't wear all the way down. So my rotors are still good. There's no reason to do anything there. So first pad you want to put in is the one on the bottom, which has the clips that help hold it onto the piston, basically like so. And then we're going to take the wear sensor and just move it up out of the way. Sure there. And then we'll take another pad and put it in its proper slot, which should work. There we go. We take the caliper, slide it over the top, get everything lined up. Looks like it's already lined up. Take your pins that we had taken out before, put them back in, which, there we go, and then take my ratchet, make sure it's on tightening, get it on there. And we've got that one started. We'll go down to the bottom one. Get our ratchet on it again. Alright, that one's tight. We got the bottom one tight already, so now we just put our caps back on. Cap there. Cap on the bottom. Grab the wear sensor. Put this back through. Turns to the side just a little bit. We'll go ahead and snap that together. That's got a good connection. Oh, there it goes. That was, yeah, you got to really give a little bit of a whack on it. So there we go, everything's done. Now you got to make sure that you didn't move your disc brake off your stud holes here. Sometimes you won't be able to get the wheel on because the disc is on there. But all right, so we've got everything put together. Now the first thing that came off was the clip, so the last thing that's going to go on is the clip. A little bit of a wrestle fest on this, but we can figure it out. Do that one first. A little whack there like that. Alright, looks like everything's good. Alright, because we got the caliper off of here, it released the tension on the rotor, and the rotor is free to move in here. It basically gets locked into position when the lug nuts go through the wheel and go through the rotor. So you might have to get in here and line these up after you've done a repair like this to make sure that you can actually get the wheel on. Alright, all the lug nuts are torqued to 97 foot-pounds. So the wheel is on. Now we just have to put our cap on. Again, there's always a trick to everything, but you see this little hole right here that we use to pop it off. It has to fit on with that facing the air nozzle. You can see there's a little diagram on the back of it. Those Germans are crazy like that. So anyway, you just put it on there, pop it on, you're good, you're done. You've changed the brakes on an Audi A4 all-wheel drive, but pretty much brakes are brakes. They all seem to be pretty much like that. So there you go, DIY German air-cooled garage does an Audi.